They've been delisted, dismissed, and declared dead more times than we could count. And yet, privacy coins refuse to disappear.
I'm still right here.
In recent weeks, they've been pumping like crazy, reminding everyone just how important privacy really is in crypto. But is this just another fleeting rally or the start of a much bigger shift? Today, I'll break down everything you need to know about privacy coins, including how they work, why they're so important, which ones should be on your radar, and what their future might look like in a world where surveillance is growing faster than ever. My name is... well, you know what? Never mind. Let's just dig in. Before we begin, I am not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video should be taken as financial or investment advice. This video is for educational purposes and is intended to inform you about privacy coins. If you like content like this, prove it by punching that like button. Now, one of the many benefits of crypto is transparency, of course. Almost every single transaction is recorded on a publicly accessible blockchain, meaning that you could see all transactions in real time using tools like blockchain explorers. In case that didn't make it clear enough, this means that crypto isn't anonymous. Technically speaking, crypto is pseudo-anonymous, meaning transaction sizes and wallet balances are public, but the identities behind them are hidden, at least in theory. In practice, blockchain analytics tools can link wallets and transactions to individuals through exchanges and payment intermediaries, namely those with KYC requirements. Most would agree that system-level transparency is beneficial, but very few would agree that it's beneficial at the personal level. The fact that your payment details and investment positions are publicly viewable poses serious risks, both to your financial and your personal safety. It's not just individuals at risk either. If institutions were to switch to using crypto as it exists today, their counterparties, transaction sizes, and strategic moves could be identified, creating compliance challenges and potentially harming their reputation and competitiveness. As such, many banks and institutions are hesitant to adopt crypto without assurances of customer privacy. And this is where privacy coins come in. As the name suggests, privacy coins are cryptocurrencies designed to be as anonymous as possible, using advanced cryptography to hide transaction data. This lets users interact with crypto more confidentially, shielding them from surveillance and enhancing personal safety. Obviously, this level of confidentiality brings its own challenges, particularly concerns around illicit activity. We'll come back to that later, but for now, you could think of privacy coins as no different to using physical cash. When you use cash, nobody knows how much money you have, nor how you're spending it. Many would argue that this level of privacy is essential for crypto's mainstream adoption, and that's precisely why privacy coins are seen by many as among the most important types of cryptocurrency, despite all of the stigma. And if you'd like to trade privacy coins, then you have to check out the Coin Bureau Deals page and sign up to an exchange that has them. By going through the Deals page, you'll get access to sign-up bonuses of up to $100,000, trading fee discounts of up to 50%, and deposit cashbacks of up to 75% on the best crypto exchanges. All you need to do is hit that link in the description or scan this QR code. Once you get on the Deals page, you will see all of our offers across a range of exchange partners. Click one of the Sign Up Now buttons and that should take you right to the deal. These deals won't be around forever though, so take advantage of them while you can using the link in the description below or by scanning the QR code on the screen. Okay, now that we know why privacy coins are important, which ones should be on your radar? Well, let's start with the biggest, Monero. Many consider Monero to be the OG privacy coin, as it's been around since 2014 and has since set the gold standard for privacy in crypto. At over a decade old, it has yet to be cracked, despite numerous attempts by blockchain analytics firms and government agencies. The same can't be said for some other privacy coins and privacy protocols. Monero uses a proof-of-work blockchain that leverages the random X algorithm, which is resistant to ASIC miners, the machines that large Bitcoin mining operations use. This lets anyone mine XMR on a normal computer, avoiding the centralization concerns seen in Bitcoin, where most of the mining power comes from a handful of mining operations and mining pools. Another unique feature of Monero is its adaptive block size technology, which automatically increases block size during high traffic periods, reducing network congestion and allowing up to 2,000 transactions per second. However, transaction confirmations can still take 20 to 40 minutes, something Monero's devs say can't be fixed due to cryptographic constraints. Around 18 million XMR were mined in the first 6 years of Monero's launch. In May 2022, Monero introduced its tail emission program, where another 0.6 XMR is mined for every block forever. This means there's no maximum supply, but the inflation rate is low and gradually decreases over time. And if you're wondering what makes transactions of Monero private, it's 3 things: ring CT, which hides transaction amounts; stealth addresses, which generate single-use addresses to hide recipients; and ring signatures, which mix a sender's signature with others to make identifying that sender impossible. Other technologies contributing to Monero's privacy include Dandelion++, Tor interoperability, and routing through the Corvi protocol's I2P invisibility project. But those are beyond the scope of this video. If you'd like to learn more though, check out our last Monero update right over here. Okay, next up we have Zcash, which was created in October 2016 as a Bitcoin fork by a team of scientists and a computer security expert named Zuku Wilcox O'Hearn. The goal was to build a more private version of Bitcoin, whose transactions are public by default. The project was initially called ZeroCoin, but was soon rebranded to Zcash, which, let's be honest, sounds way cooler. Like Bitcoin, Zcash uses a proof-of-work blockchain, but instead of Bitcoin's SHA-256, it runs on the equihash algorithm. This meant that ZEC could originally be mined competitively with a regular computer. That changed in May 2018 though, when Bitmain released the Antminer Z9 Mini, an ASIC miner for equihash-based coins like Zcash. This significantly increased mining difficulty, and today, ZEC mining is mostly done with ASICs. Since Zcash was forked from Bitcoin, it inherited some of its features. For instance, ZEC also has a maximum supply of 21 million and similar transaction speeds, processing 6 to 20 transactions per second, compared to Bitcoin's 3 to 7 transactions per second. And just like Bitcoin, Zcash has halving events, and there have been 2 so far. The first, in November 2020, reduced the mining rewards from 6.25 ZEC to 3.125 ZEC per block. The second, in November 2024, cut it further to 1.5625 ZEC per block. What makes Zcash different from other privacy coins like Monero is that Zcash's privacy features are optional, while Monero's are always on. On Zcash, users can choose transparent addresses, known as T addresses, or shielded addresses, known as Z addresses, which hide transaction details like the sender, receiver, and the amount. If the sender uses a T address and the receiver a Z address, others can see where the transaction started but not its destination, and vice versa. But if both use Z addresses, the transaction is fully private and anonymous. This is made possible by a technology called zk-snarks. And for those allergic to 8-letter acronyms, zk-snarks stands for Zero Knowledge Succinct Non-Interactive Argument of Knowledge. Yes, it is a complex concept, but in simple terms, it lets 2 parties, like a sender and receiver, verify information about each other without ever revealing the actual data. And for those wondering, Zcash has also never been cracked by government agencies or blockchain analytics firms. That said, most Zcash transactions are actually public, since most major exchanges don't support Z wallets. Now, the final privacy coin that we'll mention today is Dash, which was introduced by Evan Duffield in January of 2014. Officially, Dash isn't a privacy coin. It's a payments-focused cryptocurrency with optional privacy features. Unofficially, it's easy to see why most people still think it's a privacy coin. Dash was originally called Xcoin, then rebranded to the ominous Dark Coin about a month later, before becoming Dash, short for digital cash, in March 2015. Since then, some of Dash's core developers have downplayed its role as a privacy coin, likely to avoid intense regulatory scrutiny. The problem, though, is that privacy has always been a major selling point for Dash. Heck, its original white paper was literally titled, quote, Dash, a privacy-centric cryptocurrency. In any case, Dash is another fork of Bitcoin, meaning it's also proof of work. However, Evan wanted an algorithm that couldn't be exploited by Bitcoin miners, so he created a mining algorithm called X11, which basically uses 11 different hashing processes. However, in 2018, an ASIC was created that was able to mine Dash. Since then, mining is done by ASICs. In terms of technology, Dash boasts an instant send feature, allowing transactions to be sent and confirmed in under 2 seconds. And its blockchain can handle around 56 transactions per second. Unlike Zcash, Dash doesn't inherit many Bitcoin-like features. It has a maximum supply of around 18.9 million and also doesn't have 4-year halving events. Instead, block rewards decrease by roughly 7% annually. The current block reward is 1.77 Dash. Aside from instant send, Dash users can also use private send, which is basically a branded mixing protocol. For those unfamiliar, mixing involves, mixing multiple transactions to hide who is sending money to who. Dash has also never been cracked by a government agency or blockchain analytics firm, though it's worth noting that mixed transactions are easier to trace. Now, in case it wasn't obvious enough, the very features that make privacy coins valuable have also made them a target. Many regulators and critics blame them for enabling illicit activity. And to be clear, illegal activity has in fact happened. Privacy coins' anonymity has been leveraged for money laundering, tax evasion, darknet marketplaces, and even terrorist financing. The result is that multiple exchanges have delisted several privacy coins over the years, including Monero, Zcash, and Dash. Most delistings have occurred since 2020, with major exchanges like OKX and Binance removing them. The reasons are typically due to regulatory compliance challenges, anti-money laundering rules, and KYC requirements. But remember the example I gave earlier about privacy coins being like cash? Well, not to point out the obvious, but there's far more illicit activity that involves cash than privacy coins. Does this mean that cash is evil? Of course not. It depends on how it's being used, and the same principles apply for privacy coins. It's also worth keeping in mind that privacy coins aren't even that popular in illicit activity compared to other cryptos. In March this year, it was reported that Bitcoin was being used on darknet marketplaces more than privacy coins, largely due to the lack of liquidity resulting from exchange delistings. Despite this fact, privacy coins remain a target, with the EU announcing in May that it plans to ban them by July 2027. So, this raises the question, what are privacy coins actually used for? Surprisingly, one of their biggest use cases appears to be hiding Bitcoin transaction history. If you watched our last Monero update, you'll know that Monero effectively became a de facto privacy layer for Bitcoin after the launch of atomic swaps. The way it works is simple. BTC is atomic swapped for XMR. And then after some time, that XMR is swapped back to BTC. Voila! You have just now erased your Bitcoin transaction history. Beyond that, privacy coins are mostly used as intended, to keep financial activity private and protect users from surveillance or censorship. Many rely on them for safety, particularly in regions where revealing wealth could lead to kidnapping or extortion. Businesses use them to protect sensitive information from competitors. And in some cases, privacy coins help safeguard the identities of activists, whistleblowers, or large donors. Now, so far, we've talked a lot about privacy coins and their benefits, but you should know that privacy coins aren't the only privacy-related cryptos out there. There are also privacy protocols. The most notable example is Tornado Cash, which was launched in December 2019 by Roman Storm and Roman Semenov. Tornado Cash was launched on Ethereum as a decentralized, non-custodial mixer, allowing users to send and receive cryptocurrency anonymously without revealing their wallet history. Over time, it has expanded to other EVM-compatible blockchains, including BNB Smart Chain, Optimism, Polygon, Arbitrum, and Avalanche. Tornado Cash uses smart contracts to enable anonymous transactions through a pool-based system that separates the sender and the receiver. Users deposit crypto into a Tornado Cash pool and receive a cryptographic receipt, allowing them to withdraw the same amount of crypto to a different wallet address. The system runs entirely on immutable smart contracts, with no centralized entity controlling the funds. Like other decentralized mixers, Tornado Cash uses cryptographic technology like zk-snarks to validate transactions. To refresh your memory, zk-snarks allows transaction data to be verified without ever revealing the data. Now, you've probably heard about Tornado Cash being sanctioned by the US Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC. In August 2022, OFAC blacklisted the protocol, making it illegal for anyone in the US to use it. Tornado Cash was forced to shut down its website and GitHub accounts, and one of its developers was even arrested. It wasn't until November 2024 that the US Federal Appeals Court overturned the decision, ruling that a protocol itself cannot be lawfully sanctioned. In any case, because both privacy coins and crypto mixers provide privacy by default, they face similar regulatory and compliance challenges. These threats could not only slow adoption, but if regulators push hard enough, could even risk their complete elimination. So, how can users protect their on-chain privacy in the long term? The answer may lie in a middle ground, combining public and private approaches. In other words, using compliant privacy methods like ZK proofs to embed privacy directly on public blockchains. While this wouldn't provide full anonymity, it would allow selective disclosures and verifiable proofs of compliance without exposing unnecessary transaction details. Essentially, users could prove their compliance with AML and KYC regulations without compromising their transaction history. Compliant privacy using zk-snarks and other zero-knowledge methods could become the new norm, especially as regulators worldwide push for both transparency and privacy. Privacy by default has proven problematic because it blocks legal oversight. But privacy by design, where advanced cryptography is leveraged to ensure compliance, could offer a practical and scalable solution. And that's why you need to keep your eye out for promising privacy protocols. Now, by this point, it should be clear that privacy coins are more important than many people would have you believe. But financial privacy isn't just important in crypto. It happens to be a human right, at least according to the UN. Article 12 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights literally reads that, quote, "No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation." Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interference or attacks. This underscores the very essence of what privacy is all about: freedom. To have freedom, be that financial or otherwise, you need to have privacy. Without it, your movements can be tracked with surveillance methods, and you could be coerced and manipulated into making decisions that work against your freedom. When it comes to financial freedom, having privacy ensures that your spending habits, business dealings, or charitable donations won't be monitored, judged, or targeted. This is especially true in crypto, where the reputational stain left by criminals means that the entire industry is under constant monitoring, namely by blockchain analytics firms. Every analytics company has its own approach, but their methodologies are largely the same, and it all starts with crypto exchanges. If you've ever sent crypto to or from an exchange that requires KYC, your identity becomes linked to your wallet. Analytics companies can then alert the exchange if they detect suspicious activity. When that happens, the exchange can flag or even freeze your account. Even with wallet clustering, these firms can often determine who controls all the linked addresses. What's more, blockchain analytics firms actively track transactions coming from mixers, as I hinted earlier. This is more significant than it sounds, considering that in 2024, illicit activity accounted for just 0.34% of all crypto transactions. Makes you wonder what else these firms are really monitoring, doesn't it? Now, mixing protocols enable privacy across multiple cryptos, whereas privacy coins only offer privacy for, well, their native coin. Both options are equally as important for maintaining your financial freedom. That said, though, it's unlikely that mixers or privacy protocols will replace privacy coins anytime soon. In this sense, you could think of privacy coins as freedom coins. They allow you to take complete control of your financial information, shielding you from surveillance and coercion, and adding a layer of safety in an increasingly digital world. And at the end of the day, it's your hard-earned money. Shouldn't you be able to manage it on your own terms? And speaking of tracking and surveillance, if you want to learn more about how blockchain analytics firms are tracking you, then you need to check out our video on that right over here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again before you know it. It's Lewis, signing off.